Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Bookies TV. I'm Erica O'Rourke. I'm a reader's advisor here at Cook Library, and I'm here with Andrea Larson.
Hello!
Another one of our reader's advisors, and we are so excited to talk to you about our books today. We discovered as we were planning this episode that we both love books with a really strong sense of place, where the setting is almost a character. So that's kind of an inadvertent theme for today.
It worked out well.
And we cannot wait to share them with you. These are some fantastic titles. Do you want to start us off?
I'm happy to. My first book is called Fellowship Point, and it's by an author named Alice Elliott Dark. And so this is one of those books, this has probably happened to you, where as soon as you finish, you want to start all over again.
I love that.
Yes.
Nothing beats a good reread.
Yes. So this one I will be going back to. It is luminous, it is delicate, it is poignant, so beautifully written. The story of two women, lifelong friends, who have always spent their summers at Fellowship Point, Maine. And these are women in their 80s at this point. And so they want to preserve their land by donating it to a trust, but their families are not in agreement with this plan. Also, one of the two women is a famous author, and she's been asked to write her memoirs, but she is not particularly willing to do that. So this is a lovely character-driven book, and it's filled with insights about growing old, about female friendship, about being a woman in a man's world, especially over the many years that these characters have seen, and about justice and about compassion. Honestly, this book has changed how I feel about aging.
Really?
Yes, the characters inspired me that much.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, they're these strong, independent women, and they are coping so well with what they're facing as they get older, and I'm like, I want to do it that way. And the other thing is, I've never been to Maine, but after I read this book, I really want to go. I mean, talk about sense of place.
Yes.
It was a wild, beautiful seeming kind of a place, and I can't wait to visit there. I'm like planning a trip in my head.
Yes. One of the best vacations I've ever taken in my life was to Maine. And it is one of my literary catnips, which is, that's what I call, like, if there is something in a book, whether it's a trope or a setting or whatever, that as soon as you hear that, you're like, yes, that's the book for me. That is how I feel about Maine. And also, I also feel that way about elderly protagonists.
Well, then in that case, you need to be reading this book.
Yes,
yeah.
I clearly do. I'm very excited.
Put that one on your list.
So next on my list.
Yeah.
So my next title also has that very strong sense of place. It is a little bit the opposite side of the coin of yours. It is The Kingdoms of Savannah by George Dawes Green. It is a moody Southern noir set in Savannah, Georgia. It is about a dysfunctional high society family. They band together, very reluctantly, to find out what happened to a missing local archaeologist who was last seen raving wildly about a hidden kingdom in the city and the untold treasure therein. So they set out to search for her and reveal all sorts of secrets about the town and about themselves. Every single aspect of this story is just beautifully layered. The characters, the plot, the city itself, like Savannah on its own, is just this incredible, complicated character. And I really feel like once you read it, you will never be able to look at Savannah. It is graceful and gracious and gorgeous, but after you read this book, you will never be able to look at it the same way again. It's a stunner, the whole start to finish.
Wow. So shades of Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It really nails that, just dripping with history. And Savannah's got that ghost tour aspect, and it shows that, but from the perspective of the residents, not the tourists. I was blown away. I still can't stop thinking about it.
Wow.
Like it's one of those books where you just want to keep peeling back the layers.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And Savannah is another place that is on my to-visit list. Like vacation destination that I have wanted to go to for a long time.
I would read this first. I've talked to other staffers about who want to go there, and it really did change their perspective on what they wanted to do while they were there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Ooh,
it's a good one.
Very cool. Okay. Well, moving on to another very different place. My second book, it's called Dirt Creek by Haley Scrivener. What a perfect name for an author, can I just say?
Yeah.
It's not spelled the same as Bartleby the Scrivener, but it's still Scrivener. Anyway, Dirt Creek is set in rural Australia.
That is your catnip.
Yes, absolutely.
Australia is your catnip.
I do. I love Australian crime fiction, and this is a perfect example. So yes, small town, rural Australia in December. So the height of summer down under.
Oh, that's true.
And this oppressive heat plays a big role in setting the tone and the atmosphere of the story. And what happens is that a young girl named Esther Bianchi, she's 12 years old, she does not come home from school one day. So a big search begins, and the whole town is just turned upside down by her disappearance. And this story switches points of view between Esther's mom, her two good friends, and the police investigator working the case. This is not like your typical police procedural kind of a mystery, because it's got a slower pace, it's more in depth. It really lets you see into the life of the characters and the life of the town. That's what I really liked about it. And while the final reveal is surprising, the author goes a little step further, and she actually lets you know how things turn out for all the characters.
Oh, that's good.
Which I liked. It really gave me a good sense of closure about the whole story. And this book reminded me a lot of one of my favorite books of last year, which was called We Begin at the End.
Yes.
By Chris Whitaker. I raved about that one. So it was also a slow burn, character-driven mystery. Strong sense of place. So
there's something about it.
Yeah, I highly recommend this one.
Excellent.
Another travel destination for me too.
Clearly, you will be racking up the frequent flyer miles.
Yeah.
All right. So my last book is a little bit closer to home, somewhat. It's called The Night Shift by Natalka Burian.
Okay.
And this takes place in New York City, almost exclusively at night.
Ooh.
And in this sort of a little bit speculative world, New York is riddled with shortcuts. And they are portals that will allow you to traverse New York City. Like you can cross entire neighborhoods just by going through the right doorway.
Oh, that's probably the dream of every New Yorker.
It is. And in fact, the protagonist, initially Jean, she's sort of this lonely, prickly bartender with a troubled past. And she initially starts using them to shorten her commute. But then her only friend goes missing, and he's lost somewhere in the shortcuts, and she decides she's going to go out and track him down. And in doing so, as she learns more and more about how the shortcuts work, she realizes there's a connection to her own past. And searching out her friend and unraveling the shortcuts is actually going to help her sort of forge a better future for herself. So it does have that speculative element, but what I really loved about it was that crackling sort of energy of New York at night, and sort of the really unusual cast of characters that presents itself. It is intriguing and atmospheric, and I think if you like Rebecca Searle, maybe with a little bit more grit, or if you liked Peng Shepherd's The Cartographers, it's got that same feel with just a fantastic message about connection and hope and healing. I absolutely loved it.
Wow, very cool.
Yes.
And it's funny that you mentioned the cartographers because that is sitting on my nightstand right now. That's going to be my next book, actually. So,
and I would say this is not there is a puzzle to it. It is not a mystery in the sense that it's crime fiction.
Yeah.
But it does have that like puzzle, so that propulsive puzzle nature to it. Like, are they going to figure it out? Will this work? Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Sounds great. New York is a place that I have visited, actually lived in.
Yeah.
But I want to go back. So this would be great. A nice way to
fascinating
revisit the city.
Did you spend a lot of time? And I will say it's set in 2004.
Oh.
Which is kind of nice because smartphones aren't quite as ubiquitous.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's not like they can Google all the answers to their questions. And I like that in a book.
Absolutely.
So
deepens the puzzle. Yeah.
Well, whether you like books about great characters or books with a strong sense of place, we've had a great selection of them here for you today. If you need other recommendations, please stop by and see us at the reference desk or at the farmer's market or even on our website, cooklib.org/bookies. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.